nothing.
Okay. So what are you looking for? What are you actually looking for? Because you've come here for a reason today.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe for maybe clarification. I don't know, but
Yeah. Just guidance. I've
what?
never
Yeah.
I've never talked
Okay.
to anybody about this, so I don't.
Yeah. Yeah. So, from your reading that you've done, so on and so forth, I know you would have heard people give that the label consciousness, or that's being sought awareness. Sometimes people will use that label. Yeah.
Mhm.
Some use the label intelligence, energy. There's all sorts of labels that it's given. Yeah. So let's just come back to the label consciousness. Okay. That's what's being sought is consciousness. And you're conscious right now. You're already conscious. Do you need to seek or find consciousness?
No.
That's why you'll hear some today, yeah, that you're looking for, you already are.
Yeah. And I do know
Yeah.
that.
Good,
Yeah.
good, good. So then, great. So then the only thing that needs to be contended with is the mind, is it not?
Yeah.
Good. So here's the answer to that. Don't go there.
Mhm.
Like, really. See, remember a moment ago I said, look, be aware of consciousness only. Remember I said that?
Yep.
Yeah? Okay. That's as good as saying, stop being aware of the mind. Leave it
Mhm.
alone.
Yeah.
The answer's not in there. The answer is not in there. It's not. I'm telling you now. It's it's not in there. Yeah. Mind is conceptual.
Yeah. I think that's the realization I've had in the last like 4 or 5 days or so. Is
Fantastic.
I've been seeking and I've been just wanting to read everything and listen to everything and meditate and do all these things, and then it just kind of realized that that's not it.
Good, 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 good.
None
Now,
of that is it.
good, good. So when I ask you the question, tell me about consciousness, not really expecting an answer.
Yeah.
I ask that question, I'm pointing to consciousness when I say that.
Mhm.
Now, you could say to me, I am conscious right here, right now. And I would agree 100%. I would agree with you. Yeah? That knowing that I am conscious right here, right now, if you fully knew that, why are you still dealing with the mind?
Yeah.
Why are you still listening to it? Why are you still listening to that? Because you're
Yeah.
not that. You're this. You're this. So, you know, really, Zach, what I'm trying to get you to is to sit here with this. Now, some people might call that meditation. I wouldn't. I would just call that sitting here, being,
Hmm.
is being,
Hmm.
purely being. Yeah. And it's like you use these words. It's not, these words aren't exactly right, but it's into consciousness. Melt into consciousness. Now, whilst that's happening, the mind is going to throw up all sorts of shit. That's
Hmm.
its nature to do
Hmm.
that. Yeah. And that's kind of the test. Can you ignore it? Can you just completely ignore it and realize that mind is just a chatterbox? That's all it does. It's just a chatterbox. Yeah. Now compare mind, which is a chatterbox all day. Compare that to the aliveness of just this here. What's more profound?
Here, the aliveness.
What's more
Yeah.
profound? Because if you remove, if we remove this aliveness or this consciousness or the awareness, the mind is gone. So this comes first, like the
Yeah.
space comes first before the things in space.
And I think
So
that's where I'm at right now. Is I'm I do spend a lot of time sitting with
great,
this, and
great,
I don't know if
great.
this probably isn't a good way to describe it, but the endurance of being able to stay with this and
Yeah,
not follow the mind. That's where I'm at.
good. That's the diligence.
Yeah.
That's the earnest. That's the earnestness that Nisargadatta talked about. You heard of Nisargadatta?
Yeah. Yeah. I've got his
Yeah,
book and I started it, but never.
I am. Yeah, it's a good book. That
Yeah.
was the first book I read. That was the first book I read. I'll
I,
admit,
I
I got half. I got halfway through it and went, "This is bullshit," and I wanted to throw the book away. Right? But my teacher encouraged me to keep reading it. Then when I got to the end of the book, he said, "Good, now beginning and start again. Read it again and see what jumps out at you the second time around that
yeah.
didn't the first time around." And lo and behold, he was right.
Yeah.
So I don't know how many times I read that book over and over and over and over. And each time I read through it, something else would jump out that I didn't recognize the previous time that I read it.
That's what I've been
So
doing. That's what I've been doing with your videos. Is I'll just every
mm,
morning I'll watch a little bit, and it just feels like
yeah,
I can watch the same thing every time, and then every
mm,
time there's just something else that kind of just
something
hits
else.
you.
Yeah, it's amazing, isn't it?
Yeah,
You'd think we'd get it the first time around, but we
yeah.
don't. It's incredible. It's
Mhm.
incredible. Okay, so all right, let's explore the mind a little bit. Okay, knowing full well it's just happening. Okay, what questions has it? What does it want to know? Don't personalize it. Don't personalize the mind. Let's just talk about whatever it might be saying. What does it want to know? What questions has it got? Anything, anything. Spit it out, and we'll tackle it together, you and I.
Like specific to what we're talking about.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Um, uh, yeah. Like I said, up until a few days ago, it was
A lot,
I oh
a lot of questions.
yeah, it felt like I was missing something. It felt
Yeah.
like there was a technique or there was a way of doing something
Uh,
that I wasn't doing correctly, and I needed to know what that was.
uh,
I needed to I the mind wanted to know what's the formula for this, like how
mm,
long, like like how many hours a day should I be sitting and trying to just focus on this, and should I meditate, and which videos should I watch, like going
yeah,
through
yeah, yeah.
the playlist of videos and which one is it that I need right now to put me
Yep,
into this.
yep. Yeah. Isn't it funny to put
Yeah,
to put me into this?
yeah,
Like
because
you're already in this.
I know, and I've had experiences over the last 10 years where I've been meditating or been doing something, and all of a sudden it just hits me and it goes quiet, and I'll have a
Yeah,
couple days of just nothing, and then it slowly comes
stillness.
back in and everything starts up again, and then the mind was
Yeah,
always
well,
no.
yeah, yeah. Well, I mean, yeah, it slowly starts up again, and the attention goes to the mind again.
Mhm.
The only you do know what it is that fuels thoughts, don't you?
Thoughts. More thoughts.
No,
No.
no. Attention
Tension. Mm. Yeah,
fuels thoughts.
yeah.
Okay, you were quiet for a couple of, then thoughts started to come in again. Notice them, and then more thoughts, and you're more noticing, and the more noticing, the more thoughts. Attention. Yeah. If you shift the attention back home, back here, just shift the attention back here. Look,
Yeah.
you know, using the mind, all we're doing is coming to discover what we're not. The mind to discover what you are. That's just not possible. Why? Because the mind is dualistic. And this that is being sought is non-dual. It's non-dualistic. Yeah? So the person who believes it was born and one day will die, you couldn't get any more dualistic than that, right? And then all the other duality that happens in a person's life, right? Duality is a product of the mind only.
Sorry, say that again,
Only.
Terry.
I will. Duality is a product only.
Mm.
Did you get that?
I got it that time. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you.
Yep. That's all. If you can. Yeah. What duality would there be if the mind completely collapsed?
There wouldn't be any.
There wouldn't be over there or an over there or an up or a down or this and a that and a he and a she and a me and a you. Yeah? If the mind just completely collapsed, there's your non-dual, which you've experienced. You've told me.
Mm-hmm.
You've experienced. Mind just goes boom, quiet.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah? What you haven't done as yet, to any lengthy degree anyway, from what I'm hearing, is you haven't explored the non-dual. And you do that directly because consciousness, in your direct of being conscious, is your experience of dualistic?
No,
Pause.
it's not.
It's not, is it? Your experience of awareness, is that dual?
No.
It's not. Your experience of seeing, is that dualistic? Seeing, is that dual?
No.
Okay. Seeing, hearing, tasting, touching, and smelling, are they dual?
Not unless the mind
There's
kicks
only
in
one.
and
Good. So that's what creates the duality, the
yeah.
mind. So to get to non-dual, you've got to go, or the attention has to shift away from the mind to the life here,
Mm-hmm.
to the consciousness, the awareness, the beingness, simply here. Yeah. So if I was
Yeah.
going to give you something to practice,
Yeah.
which is a ridiculous statement because you're already conscious, all I would say to you is sit here
Mm-hmm.
and then see what gets revealed. Then see what gets revealed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
It's,
get that.
yeah. Yeah. You know, it's, one of the hardest things to do is to shift the attention off the mind. It's one of the hardest things to do. Why? Because we've had our attention on the mind our whole fucking life.
Yeah.
That's why, you know, and we think it's our friend and we
Mm-hmm.
think we need it. I mind.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I'm not saying we don't need the mind. The mind is a useful instrument. It's the creative sense. It's seeing, hearing, tasting, touching, smelling, and creating. Creating. Without that sense, without the creating sense, what the fuck would there be? Or you could say, you know, without seeing, you'd be stumbling around in the dark.
Yeah.
Without hearing and seeing, oh, can't see, can't hear. Yeah. Now try and imagine removing all the senses, seeing, hearing, tasting, touching, and smelling, right? Now they're gone.
Mm-hmm.
Now what would the experience be? Imagine if you were born and you couldn't see, hear, taste, touch, or smell.
There wouldn't be an experience.
There wouldn't, would there?
Mm-hmm.
There wouldn't. They're just,
No.
yeah, so they're useful. Like the mind, it's useful. Seeing, hearing, tasting, touching, and smelling are useful along with the mind. It's useful. Yeah. When consciousness is taking itself to be the mind, well, it's not true. It produces it, but it's not the content of it. Do you understand?
Yeah.
It's not the content of it. Yeah. Without that, what kind of experience? Like, okay, let's say there is seeing, hearing, tasting, touching, and smelling, but zero thoughts. What would that experience be like?